So fancy meeting y'all here in my flooded abode. Oh, jeez. Basement flooded. I've never had a basement, so I don't know how to react to a flood. This was nothing. This is about as deep as it got, so we're really grateful for that. We had a really big rain here in Kansas. There's a little bit of a trigger warning. I'm in the middle of shop vacuuming all of this, and we're gonna talk about grief. So if we're talking about grief, something obviously got a little damaged. So I am gonna clean all of this water up as best as I can, and I will be right back to talk to you guys. So we still got a little bit left to shop vac. I don't know what I'm doing, and I was putting boxes on the ground, the back of that storage closet, where I kept all of Kale's things, including his tax papers, keepsakes, our wedding stuff, cards, a bunch of stuff that he bought that was never used and just feels weird to get rid of. Like, tying this all into grief, if this would have happened 6 months after he died, or like a month after I moved into this house, I would have had a full-blown crying, screaming meltdown. Full-blown. I would have freaked out. I would have lost it. When this happened the other day, it was all fun and games. I was laughing it off. I was like, oh, how ironic, you know, wake up in a pool of water. And it's just getting worse, and it's the worst it's ever been when it comes to flooding, right? And, you know, just staying positive. But then, when it started clicking in my little squirrel brain that ding, 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 I have stuff in storage down here. I started looking around, and I found, you know, all of our wedding stuff from 2018 that I still haven't solidified and made into a memorial. I got really lucky with this. Totally thought it was gonna get ruined. It was in a box. It was soaking wet. I remember anxious laughing as I found all of this stuff. Zach was down there with me, helping me, of course, bless his heart. And it's like he was waiting for me to just like lose it, you know, and he was getting to work and helping me clean up, and I was finding all of this stuff from the wedding and everything. And I nervous laughed about it, because that's what I do every time something not fun happens. That's just how I cope. And when it started setting in, I started getting pretty upset, kind of sick to my stomach that, you know, some of his pictures, like when somebody dies and you inherit every single thing that they've accumulated throughout their entire life, they're 31 years old, very well established, it's really hard to know what to do with every single one of their things. Some people grieve differently. They can get rid of all of it. They can donate all of it. But with me and the way he died, it just felt wrong to do all of that. I gave away a lot of his stuff, and I gave away really sentimental things to his family that meant a lot to me for them to have. But nobody wants his tax papers. Nobody wants, you know, everything that's in his safes or all of that. So I have them all, and I keep them in my basement, and I lock them in boxes like this. When grief strikes me and I'm ready to look through them, I can. But in this case, I had no choice. I had to go through all of them, lay all of his stuff out, and if you know anything about that, that hurts real bad. I do not recommend doing that forcefully, but when you have to, you have to. And instead of losing my actual mind and just like having a full breakdown, I cried a little bit, but something hit me that has never hit me in this last 3 and however many months. I feel like I'm healing, because instead of breaking down and freaking out and ruining my entire day about it, I shed a couple tears, and it all just came rushing in that they are just items. They're things, all of your things, all of your loved ones' things. You can't take it with you when you go unless you bury them with it, which in that case I buried Kale with the salsa that we made and some really cool keepsakes. But anyway, you can't take stuff with you when you go. And it all hits me that even if he was here and that happened to him, he was such a positive person. He wouldn't give a crap. he wouldn't care. If he wouldn't care, why am I shaking? If he wouldn't care, then why am I freaking out? You know what I mean? Like, why am I losing my mind over something so stupid like things? It's not like I'm using these things every single day. They're sitting in my basement for years. The cliche saying, you know, time heals all, blah, blah, blah. That used to make me so mad, by the way, right after he died, when people would say that to me, because it would just make me sick. But it's true. You know, there's a reason why everybody says it. It's because you can look back at, you know, a week after he died and now, and the pain is still like the same pain, but it's not as world crushing. You know, it's not as devastating. So if this can help anyone, seriously, it does heal you. Honoring him is all I ever want to do. I heard a really cool widow friend of mine's quote the other day, and I'm gonna butcher it. Consoling a new widow and telling her that when you don't feel like you can go on without them, the worse pain you start feeling, the longer and longer they're gone, is the strength you feel from realizing that you can survive without them. It's bittersweet. It hurts to know that you can survive without them, but it's comforting because everything starts to become something they taught you, something you honor them by. New traditions, you know, like she said something about having Thanksgiving. She has a certain food every Thanksgiving with her kid and watches his favorite movies and listens to her late husband's favorite music. And that's how it is. I feel like that's one of those things that everyone universally experiences when it comes to losing a loved one. That you want to honor them, and who cares if my wedding bouquet from 2018 got ruined. But if it did, like, what are you gonna, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. It's gonna hurt, but I haven't looked at that thing in over a year at least. His tax papers, what are those gonna do? What are they gonna do for me in this day? They're all covered in mold and laying out and drying out, but there's nothing I can do, and I can live without it. I'm just as strong as ever. And to be able to sit back years later and compare your reaction, sorry, I'm like shaking, to compare your reaction from a few days after he died to now is a really good feeling, to know that it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It still hurts, but I feel a lot stronger looking in the rearview mirror instead of being in that devastatingly heartbreaking moment. Again, I don't know why, but it's super healing to share my journey online and share a bunch of stuff to a bunch of strangers online. A lot of you guys are not strangers. You have been here from the very beginning, and for some reason it is very healing to get on camera and share and post all of this, read all your comments. Making this my job has been the coolest and most healing thing that I could ever imagine. I don't talk about grief as much as I should, but I feel like y'all would get sick of me if that's all I did. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them down below, and I'm gonna finish toweling up all of this water and moving on, because that's all we can do. Okay, love you, bye.